so nice to be here with you this afternoon. And yeah, I just knew from the introduction that we had through our mutual friend, Jordy. Hopefully Jordy will be signing on
Jordy
too.
Towers,
yes. Some kind of wonderful man who introduced me to you through your Instagram lives that you were having with him. And I was so inspired by the messages that you were sharing, and all of the good, just, you know, all the wisdom that you were imparting to the people that were streaming and joining in. And so I thought, what a great opportunity to get to know you a little bit more, and to also kind of combine our efforts, because I think that we have similar platforms. We're doing it in different ways, right? We're meeting our you know, the people
we're helping change the world, right?
Yeah, we're all about changing the world. We're all about making the world a little bit better, a little bit brighter for everybody around us. And so I'm going to just turn to my trusty producer Victor and ask if we're doing okay on Instagram.
Yes,
hi Instagram, it's nice to see you there.
Yay, thank you, Victor.
Yeah, Victor is amazing. And so without further ado, I wanted to introduce everybody. Everybody knows who I am on my Instagram and on my Facebook page.
Yay, first of all, hold on. Ladies and gentlemen, Jennifer Norman. Woo-hoo!
And it's been a while since I've done a live stream like this. I started doing live streams towards the beginning of COVID because I really wanted to see what we could do to reach out more. Everybody was just quarantined. We were all inside. We couldn't see each other. And it was our way of connecting. You know, it was just a way for us to kind of show our faces, show our support, and provide a little bit of inspiration. And then throughout COVID, through various and sundry different places, I did have some special guests on, but most of them were authors and, you know, in the kids book realm because of the kids books that I write. But today I really wanted to kind of to start from a platform of you know, the human beauty movement, and what you're doing is about, you know, living out loud and building fire within. So I wanted to just take a moment to properly introduce you. And so I've got your little bio here. I'm going to read it out loud so that people know who this unusually handsome man is on the opposite side of the screen from me. So everybody, welcome Shawn Antonio. Shawn specializes in helping people lean into their purpose, inspiring and motivating them to be bigger and better, no matter their personal circumstances in life. Shawn has died twice, almost 4 times. We'll talk a little bit about that, but he's still here. He keeps coming back, doesn't he? Shawn knows he has a bigger purpose in life for being here. He initially pursued a career in medicine, only to give it up to follow his heart and enjoy a successful dance career. So we have that in common.
Yeah.
He has lived in 3 countries and 5 cities. His passions ultimately led him to Los Angeles, where he became one of Hollywood's most respected and universally loved nightlife promoters for more than 16 years. Shawn knows most people in LA and probably New York too, right? In 2017, Shawn was accused of a crime he did not commit and could not afford to fight. Despite all the challenges Shawn faced, he dug deep and understood that there was a purpose in this design. In his darkest hours, he wrote his first 2 books and started coaching a number of friends, something he had been naturally doing for years as a passion rather than a purpose. But Shawn now coaches a number of celebrities, executives, and he's fiercely passionate about inspiring those who are stuck in the system, namely foster children, inmates, and the homeless. Shawn is committed to inspiring and improving the lives, and we're going to help him get to 1 billion people in his lifetime. This is his North Star and guiding light. So welcome, Shawn, to the live stream.
Yay!
And so what we were going to talk about today were 5 things that we could do to crush life now. And so I think that anybody who hears your backstory and sees you are like, oh my gosh, how is it that you've gone through all of this quagmire? Like anybody would feel like, oh my God, I've just been buried. Things could not get worse. How is it that you're just still there, but so vibrant and so exuberant with a smile on your face? You've got to share this.
Oh man. So first of all, Jen, thank you for having me on the show. I'm stoked to be here. Victor, thanks for making it happen in the background. You guys rock. It's great to be on your show. But I just want to say it's so interesting to hear yourself introduced on social media, on platforms, on podcasts. So every time I hear an intro as to who I am in the world, I go, oh shit, I did all that. Like, yeah, I did that and I survived this and I died and I did events all over the country in Australia and all this crazy stuff. So I just want to say thank you for acknowledging the journey it's been in reading my bio, because I rarely hear it. I just be it, right? Yeah. So to answer your direct question, and hello everybody out there on Facebook land, I just want to say you guys rock. Thanks for tuning in. But, you know, how I maintain my smile is really simple. When you've seen a life that has challenged you to be bigger than your circumstances, you just can't help but smile. So for me, I don't have time to waste being a victim, playing small, not fulfilling my dreams. Like I have this thing, instead of, I coach people all over the world. So besides celebrities and executives and homeless and all these different people I coach people who just get stuck, right? Yeah. And oftentimes we allow COVID as our newest excuse. We allow our race as an excuse. We allow all these different things, having kids, being a single mom or single dad or whatever it is. We allow these circumstances to bog us down. For me, I've mastered the art of being happy no matter fucking what. Like no matter what, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm so grateful to wake up every day. So, you know, and to be very direct about my falsely accused thing, I was falsely accused of murder. Like I got hit by a guy and got falsely accused of murder. I was dead sober going home and the guy ran into me, and unfortunately, may he rest in love, he passed away 4 hours later. So I was following all the rules, dead sober, driving, seatbelt, the whole nine. So when something like that happens to you, you go, why me, right? When traumas happen to all of us, we look for the purpose. One thing I've practiced myself being great at is learning the lesson, always looking for the silver lining in everything that happens, whatever it is. So that's why this permagrin is stuck on my face, because I woke up today like, oh my God, right? And there's a mindset that you set yourself up to be. And we could talk about that, about, you know, the 5 lessons I have for crushing your life right now, today, like this day today, October 7th, Wednesday. There's so many things. We'll get into it in a minute. But I mean, how could you not be grateful for everything in your life just right now? Seriously, look around at the abilities that you have to do. And that's the problem with us as humans. We look at what we don't have versus what we do have. I always look at what I do have. I'm stoked. The shirt on my back, this conversation, my amazing wife and daughter. Like, what? Are you kidding? Just that alone fuels my soul. So that's my answer.
You coach people who just feel like they can't get out of their heads, or they feel that their history defines them. And so they carry that around as baggage with them. It's a very heavy burden. I mean, what do you do in order to help people feel like they can just lift that off and just...
Oh, we go straight for it. And just so you're clear, I coach everybody. So it's not specific to any specific thing. Everyone gets stuck. Everyone needs a coach. So what I do is I go straight for the jugular. It's like my jugular approach, I call it. Well, you know, my first phone call with you as a new client, we talk about what's stopping you. What's really plaguing you? What's your self-imposed glass ceiling, your walls, the things that you have been procrastinating on, the stories you've been selling yourself about yourself. You know, I actually train people in verbal restructuring. What I mean by that is the disempowering conversations, we remove all those things. We deal with how you're showing up in your life, the unhealthy habits that you have in your life, the lack of boundaries. Like I do a thing called healthy boundaries, which most people should have. I should say everybody should have healthy boundaries in their lives. And I detoxify your life. So we take all the bad habits you have, whether it be drugs and alcohol, or a codependent relationship, or you're not living, swinging the bat like Babe Ruth every day, calling the shots like that. If you're not doing that, there's something in your way. So I remove all the blocks out of your way. Then we define your life. We look at, what do you want to do? Like when you were a kid growing up, what did you want to do when you were just like freed up, without circumstances, without responsibilities or bills or debts or any of the things that we have to deal with as adults? Who do you want to be? So I get you back to zero, where nothing stops you from your self-imposed bullshit you told yourself. So that's kind of my coaching style. And I just grab the middle of your heart and we just light it back on fire. You know, we light it back on fire.
It's so interesting because I was just reading a little clip from a gal on LinkedIn, and she said that, you know, she's got this young son who's probably 5 years old, took him to the park, and they came across a man in a wheelchair. And the little boy went right up to the man in the wheelchair and said, "I'm going to race you, and whoever wins is, is just going to be the coolest." And she was so mortified. She was just like afraid of disaster that this man.
That's beautiful, though.
But the man said, "All right, here you go. And they started racing each other and laughing and being so, they were just so happy. And then the man said to the mother, he was just like, normally I'm not seen. People just like walk right by me and they don't say hello. They don't smile. He's like, your son was like the first person in months that came up to me and not only engaged, but made me smile today. So thank you. And she's like, from now on, I'm never going to, you know, put some inhibitions on him. And I almost think about that. It's like, as adults, it's like we have this fear, like we forget the child in us. We forget that we, you know, if you just like abandon ego or what anybody else is thinking, or think about, oh gosh, what is society going to think that this is going to be wrong, or what, you know, how am I supposed to behave in this? I think kids are sometimes our best teachers.
They are.
And so, yeah, it's almost like remembering that child that you used to be helps to kind of unleash a little bit of that inhibition, if you will. And maybe that's a part of living out loud.
That's a huge story, Jen. Thanks for sharing that story, because that's profound. What I heard was that kid saw that man as a human and just saw the opportunity to engage with another human. And he probably made that guy's life in that moment. The guy who's been blown off, not seen, not acknowledged. Now the mom, who probably rubbed up against her own like fear or shame or whatever she had going on, but the kid just saw a guy on wheels. He said, let's go. And he changed the dynamic of that guy's experience. Now, how cool is that? Now that's a perfect example of no filter. The kid just saw the opportunity. And that's actually one of my 5 lessons. You kind of nailed it, is, you know, doing things that only light your heart up. That kid saw a guy on wheels. He's like, hey, let's race. And he got ready to laugh. He's like, okay, cool. And he like, but that's what we're missing, that human connection, especially right now during this, you know, pandemic and the world being completely different. We're missing the human touch, the human connection. Profound. That's awesome.
It's interesting because, one of your first tips, as you just said, do only things that light up your heart. So what do you think it is now that does prevent people from doing things that light up their heart?
Oh, guys, come on. All the excuses, right? Now it's COVID. Before was something else. And there's racial tension. And Australia was on fire. And Kobe Bryant died. And this celebrity died. And this part. We always find excuses. We always put self-imposed like conversations and limitations in our own space. So we do it to ourselves, right? So things that light your heart up are, what passions? Where are your passions? Are you doing them? Are they happening in your life? Do you have them actually as practices on a daily basis? What are you doing out of guilt or obligation or have-tos or shoulds? What are you doing out of pressure? I'm talking about only things, why I'm always like this, as my wife calls me. She goes, I have one complaint, babe. Well, if I had a complaint about you, here's the thing. You're like annoyingly positive. I'm like, that's a good complaint. Yeah, I'll take that complaint. Right? So the things is, you know, guys, look at yourself right now, today, in this day, right now, in this moment, and say to myself, you know, what am I doing that's not making me happy? And get rid of all that stuff. All of it. What are you doing to take care of your well-being? How you're sleeping, eating, you know, how you're interacting, who you're spending your time with on Zoom, who are you connecting with, who are you doing socially distant hangs with? Only do things that like the WeWork mantra. WeWork in their buildings there. I don't know what they're going to do in the future, but they are where they are. WeWork, it says, do what you love when you walk into their lobbies of their buildings. Do what you love. That's a huge thing. That's the thing. We all fall in this pattern of not doing what we love.
Yeah, and I think COVID gives us a good excuse to re-examine what we love, doesn't it? Because, you know, a lot of us are not stuck in the offices all day long. It's like, you know, how am I going to get through this to preserve and enhance my mental health and the joy in my life with what I have now, with what
exactly. That's you know what that is, Jen, too, to contribute to that thought? It's a survival mentality versus a thriving mentality. I looked at, as soon as COVID happened, I'm like, how can I thrive in this versus survive it? Everyone's like, how do I survive? No, let's thrive. What am I not doing that I can actually do? That the universe has obviously shifted all of us to really live in our purpose, right? That's what I'm taking from this. It stopped us from running, chasing that someday, right? And really, my number 2 tip, I'll go right into that, speaking your truth. If you're now speaking your truth, and I say to all my clients and you guys now, you have permission. You have permission to speak your truth. Like, that's the problem, that we have not been honoring ourselves with what we really want. We're so afraid to hurt others' feelings and really, and here's the biggest one that I've been like really uncovering with a lot of my clients lately is, you know, I'm coaching 32 people. I have the pleasure of coaching 32 people right now, and I'm so in love with all of them. They're amazing, right? Here's the thing. When you're speaking your truth, there's nothing to filter back or remember. You're just saying it. You know, you're just living your truth. You're just being that. And there's the permission you need is to give yourself the freedom to say that. It's that Mel Gibson Braveheart moment, like freedom, like that thing. We got to give ourselves that because we've been waiting for someday to be our authentic selves. And today is that fucking day. Right now, and right
Yeah.
now, and right now, and right now.
Yeah. Speaking your truth and living it. Like
Yes.
talking about living out loud, living what you speak, speaking what you
Yes.
live. It all,
Exactly.
it's
And
like,
you know what? I couldn't be an effective life coach if I didn't walk my walk. I saw this really cool. I should send you the picture. It's really cool. It was the Wicked Witch of Oz, right? And it's a picture of her, brand new thing I found on Instagram, on Pinterest, and and it said, "Beware, I walk the talk." And I was like, yes, like walk your talk, everyone, right? Speak your truth. Don't be afraid to be unleashed. Like we're afraid of our own greatness and we're afraid to have it all. That's why we don't speak our truth. That's the biggest, like, if I went down the psychology rabbit hole, all the people I've been coaching, the biggest thing is they can't envision all of it. Like having the money, the relationships, all of them in check, right? The body of their dreams, the car, the houses, the bank accounts, like all of that. People can't, we are really shitty at that, but
yeah.
we can. So when you start to speak your truth more and more and more, it gets easier. It's
Yeah.
actually an elation. I'm always speaking my truth and my life works as a result.
Isn't it
Black
so
and white.
liberating? It is. I actually just finished recently reading Glennon Doyle's Untamed, and
Oh, cool.
and what a great book! And she's just amazing. I love her and Abby to pieces. And the way that she talks about the fact that here is like when she goes to the zoo, there's a cheetah going after and it's trained to run after this dirty pink bunny, and it gets a slab of meat as a reward. It doesn't realize that it's a goddamn cheetah. Like if it realized that it was a goddamn cheetah, it would be killing, it would be like, and so that's what society does. It's like, oh, it's much happier here. It should be grateful that we're taking such good care of this cheetah. It's got a nice life here. No, if you recognize what your power was inside and the fact that you could really live your truth, then feel how exciting would that really be?
Exactly.
Really, really exciting. And that's the thriving versus the surviving.
Exactly. And that's what I talk about in my first book, Be the Beast You Are. Both of my books. Well, Be the Beast You Are is my first one I released in July of 2017, July 20th to be exact. And then I followed it up with Having Amazing Relationships. And it was October 20th, 2017. And in Be the Beast You Are, I talk about that, is unleashing your true beast to yourself, like finding your beast and finding where it's been hiding. Because we all have it, right? But it's been hiding somewhere under trauma with parents, something that happened. Like I could talk about my molestations. I've been molested 5 times when I was a kid. I could sit here and be a victim of that. I could, right? Or I could be this guy, right? Or I could sit there and go, wow, when I was 4 years old, I had an asthma attack and died. Boom, that's one time I died. Number 2, when I was 22 years old, got hit by a car, died, heart stopped, internal organs lacerated. If I would have seen the car, the doctors told me I would have been dead. So at 22, I went through this whole catharsis of like actually dying and coming back. Like, so when you have things like that happen to you, you can choose to either thrive or survive. So even before I became a life coach, I had the very thrive in the face of anything mindset, and that's the thing with people. We often forget that we have a beast waiting right here to go. And that's why in my book, Be the Beast You Are, I yell at everybody. I'm like, guys, and it's a short book. The book is like 30 something pages. So it's a millennial size read. It's on Amazon. It's $8. Everyone can afford it. And it's really like a how to live your life as a beast. It's more of like that. It's like a bitch slap. It's a verbal, like, wake up everybody, let's go. Like it's been called the verbal bitch slap. And I'm like, yes, I'm very proud of that. I'm like, yes, my book is a verbal bitch slap. Like that.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Huge. So I love that you said that.
Yeah. And so then your third one, which is a little bit, taking it down a notch, is meditation. And so, going from meditation to where you are now, tell us what your practice is and what you would, for those, because I constantly, when I talk about meditation, I always get a lot of people coming back to me saying, I can't meditate, I can't sit still, I can't concentrate, I can't. So there's a lot of that happening.
Yep, totally. I used to be the I can't guy. I was a president of that club. I can't, because I'm so hyper and so like this. I started meditating 10 years ago. My wife now, she was my good friend back then, taught me the art of it, of sitting still. Sitting still is definitely not my DNA. It's not my forte, but I've managed to learn how to meditate, because meditation, and for some people out there in the world, because I coach a lot of people who are very religious as well, if it's prayers for you, rock and roll. But I highly recommend meditation for every human walking this planet, because it's the one time you get to be alone with your thoughts, where you can channel every and anything that is for you. It's actually like noise canceling for the brain. You shut the brain down, you shut all the thoughts, the responsibility, the obligations, I've been doing daily meditation. I'm so proud to say this. September 1st, this year marked 1 year. I have not missed 1 day of meditation. One.
Yeah.
And as a result, that's why I put it on my How to Crush Life Now lessons, because for me as a life coach, I've elevated because of the fact that I've been meditating no matter what, which is my next thing I'll share with you guys too. But making meditation the first thing I do when my alarm goes off in the morning, I wake up, earbuds in, boom, first thing, 10-minute, 12-minute, 20-minute meditation. So I can be responsible for who I'm going to be that day.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Meditation gives you the clarity to decide/choose. And when I say decide, it kills off any other option. But when you choose who you're going to be, by getting yourself centered before you walk into your adult world, it's so beautiful and you can hear everything. There's like this inner peace that I love about meditation. I will never stop meditating ever. And I highly recommend it for everybody. For you guys who don't know meditation, find some. There's some great apps out there. The Calm app, CALM. It's a great app. You can get it for free and then buy a subscription if you want. I have the subscription. I love it. There's Breathe, BREETHE. That's a great one too. And there's a bunch of meditation apps out there that are awesome. Guys, try it, get it, and get in your rhythm and watch your life change. You'll change organically. I swear by it. I don't go a day without it.
Yeah. And so just telling people to meditate, I think that everybody's like, yeah, I get it. I know I need to do that. There are a couple of things that I've learned that really help to almost, really kind of fulcrum it into the life. And like, I just finished reading Atomic Habits. That was another one. And also, I'm a big proponent of Arianna Huffington and her micro steps, because if it's small enough to incorporate, then it's too small to fail. Like there's no way you can't be able to do this. So if, for example, your micro step or your atomic habit is in the morning, the very first thing that you do is your alarm goes off, you meditate. You know that as soon as you wake up, that is what you're going to do, and you do it for 2 minutes, 5 minutes, however much time. It doesn't, if it's too long, then you're never going to incorporate it and you're going to give up. But if you make it easy enough to incorporate, even if it's like you're about to take a shower, you put the water on, you're waiting for the water to get warm, that is your time to meditate. Like force your mind to create a habit every single day so that you can incorporate it very easily into your life, and then it will just become habitual, and that way it'll become regular and something that you can very easily do. If you don't do that, you're going to give up. It's just like, if you don't go to the gym, a lot of us can't go to the gym anymore. It's like, and my love handles are showing it, it's like, I can't go to the gym. Therefore, it's not as easy to fit that into my schedule. But the idea of stopping myself and being able to say, okay, right now I'm going to take 4 deep breaths. I think everybody can stop for a moment, like before you're eating, before you have your morning coffee, you can just you can do the box breath, which is breathe in for 4, hold for 4, breathe out for 4, hold for 4. Breathe. And so, just practicing little things like that to incorporate meditation and breathing into your day can have a world of a difference, right?
Yeah, and one thing too to add to that, the benefits is your clarity. Things change in your life. Your relationships get upped. The way you are in life. Usually, what happens is you see life in a whole different light when you get that centeredness for yourself. So the benefits are beyond. I can't even measure the benefits of my life since meditation's been part of it. So I agree with everything you said.
Yeah, there was an amazing TED Talk by Elizabeth Gilbert where she's talking about how a lot of those strokes of insight come when your brain is in a certain wave state. And it's usually like, if you're in your gamma state or your alpha state, it's in that pattern where thought just becomes clearer. And it's essentially almost becoming a meditation. Like if you're driving and then you've got some like background music and all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, I just got this amazing idea. I don't have my notepad or, and so that's usually when epiphanies strike. And it's because you've almost hit a meditative state. And the channeling from the universe starts to arrive and the creativity comes, and that's when you know that your mind is kind of open and free and not burdened by a lot of other thought, right?
Yep, you're a conduit for the universe for sure. I believe in that 100%.
Conduit for the universe. Okay, so number 4, no matter what list of daily practices that you do, and this was one of them that you were saying was on your note list, as we just said, it was meditation. But what other daily practices do you think that are helpful for people, or do you think that they should just develop their own?
Well, I think you should develop your own, because here's what happened. Last August, I created my own, and I came up with 6. Now, what the no matter what list looks like is where you never settle for not doing them. Meditation's my number 1. Okay. My number 2 is exercise. My number 3 is reading something, 5, 10, half hour, whatever. And exercising however long you so choose. Number 4 for me was connect. Truly connect with people. Like take a half hour a day to connect with your wife, your best friend, your mom, your coworker, whatever, right? The other one, my number 5 is play. Like just play. And play is just play whatever it looks like. I don't care what it looks like. If it's actually playing a game on your phone, or I don't care playing Monopoly with your best friend. I don't care what it looks like. Play. Like we forget to play as we get older. And then my last one, which there's many different forms of this, but it's called Niksen, Niksen. It's the Dutch art of doing nothing. Literally, you do nothing. You go sit and watch butterflies fly by, and you're not on your phone, you're not reading, you're not distracted, you're just being one with yourself. There's another one that I heard of recently called Boketo or Bokito, the Japanese art of like gazing, like stargazing, or like just gazing away and like zoning out. I just learned that one about 2 weeks ago. So don't make up your no matter what list for you, things that you'll never not do for yourself, for your soul. I don't care if it's a facial routine that you sit in the mirror and do your face every day. Like part of my daily routine is, grooming my head, shaving my head, and cleaning up my beard. That's a no matter what, right? Thank you. Like those are things that no matter what. Some people that I coach is running at 7 a.m. They run their 2 miles every morning. Like that's it. So get your no matter what. Maybe it's drawing if you're an artist. Maybe it's listening to your favorite jazz record. Maybe it's dancing in your living room for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I don't care. Maybe it's calling your mom and hearing what your mom's up to. I don't know, but you have to have like rituals for yourself that fuel your happiness.
Yeah.
They do.
It's interesting because as I've been studying things like Dharma and Ikigai, you are so right. Play is such an integral part of
Ikigai. Huge.
Play plus purpose equals prosperity. That is the formula. Like you cannot have one without the other. You have to be able to enjoy what you're doing, and the play helps to ignite that creativity and that energy and that drive. Otherwise, you're just going to be a robot going through life, and you're never going to fully prosper. And prosperity is not just money. It's about wellness. It's holistic wellness and well-being. So,
We get so caught up, Jen, trying to go somewhere someday. I love Ikigai. I heard about it last year, and I got clear that we have all been conditioned to get somewhere. Where are we going? Where are we going? Like, let's be here now in every moment. And that's the biggest gift I've gotten from COVID is being here now. And every moment with my daughter, my wife, fully present with my friends when I do social distance hangouts. Like I go out and I went out the other day and I saw people at a restaurant in Hollywood, no one on their phone. Wow. That was people actually talking. I was like, what happened? Like for the past 15 years, you always see people on their phones like, but people are actually just engaged, phones down. Some people even have their phones on the table. Like what? That's what I'm talking about. So and what I recommend for everybody watching this or sees this, get your no matter what. I call it the hashtag no matter what list. I have it next to my bed. I've memorized it, as you can tell. And I just do those things every day. There now alarms go off in my phone that remind me, Shawn, meditate, Shawn, go do this, Shawn, play, Shawn, disconnect. It reminds me, and it's just that. That way you don't even have to think about it. You just show up and be that. So that's that. No matter what.
Number 5 is such a juicy one.
Woo, this is a good one.
Yeah. Toxic habits, things, and people.
Yeah. You said I put that in order? That was on purpose. So I'll go there. So guys, I have an online school, Shawn Antonio Life Coaching. You can find me actually on my website on ShawnAntonio.com. You'll see my online school, stuff like that, right? So I have a course called Reset Your World. And Reset Your World is free for everybody around the world. I trended in India when I first launched it last April. It was crazy. I was like getting 20, 30 students today. It was awesome. So India, thank you guys for supporting me. You guys are awesome. Habits, things, and people. So what there is to do, guys, is to sit down and figure out what habits you have that are toxic, that you may have rubbed up against for yourself, whatever they may be. Nail biting, surface conversations with people, not taking care of your body, irresponsible sleep or eating, no exercising, not really being clear in your communications, right? Like whatever the habits may be, being a messy person. Like my place is always spotless. It's a no matter what for me. My place is just, it is what it is. So getting rid of any habits that are limiting your truth of who you are, because we always have this ongoing to-do list of things we have to do someday because we've been so shitty about having great habits. So get rid of all those habits, things that are unnecessary in your life. Anything that thwarts you or doesn't, as Will Smith said in the video I just saw 2 weeks ago, anything that's not fanning your flame And he's just like, if it's not fanning your flame and those things are pulling you back, or there's pictures of, like, you broke up with somebody and there's still pictures in your phone. Like one of my clients I just had, he's going through a divorce. I'm coaching him through his divorce, and I know her and I know him, right? And I had him go through his phone and back up all the photos of him and his wife, and or ex-wife now, going and get rid of those out of his phone. Get rid of anything that reminds him of her. So things like, holding on to a couple pictures of him and his daughter and wife, that's fine. But like getting rid of anything that's going to pull you backwards. And then the biggest thing, people. Guys, we have this thing called keeping people in our life that don't support who we are, that aren't our cheerleaders, that don't champion us, and we hold on to them for a series of reasons, whether they're family. As my dad said to me about 15 years ago, he said, look at the person for who they are. That it could be mom, brother, sister, cousin, whoever they are. If they're not great and don't attribute amazing things to your life, they should not be in your life. And if you have the chance to reinvent the relationship and call all the elephants, the pink elephants, as I call them, the pink elephants in the room, if you get to actually acknowledge them and say, hey, we're suffering here. This is a suffocating relationship, and it's my bad. I did this, and I want to clean that up. And if you want to clean up my relationship, I'm in. So people that you're incomplete with, let's get all that shit complete. I talk about that in Having Amazing Relationships. I talk about the 8 different areas of our lives that we kind of fuck up and just drop the ball on. And people are the biggest thing. Go through your phone. See who you no longer need in your life. When I went through my phone, when I started my Reset Your World course, I actually did it myself before, and I beta tested it with 38 of my friends. And then I put it out there to the world. And everybody got great results. And the one that they struggled the most with was people. You have to go through your social media, clean out anybody that's not consistent with amazing things. You have to go through your email list. You have to go through, your daily habits of people that you talk to that aren't like, man, Jen, great. What are you doing? Yeah, how can I help you get there? What do you need? You got to have people that are on your team. Team Jen, Team Shawn. And if you don't have that, and if you're not being that for other people, that's what it is too. Because if you're the toxic person, that's a problem too, right? Because you got to look at yourself in the mirror and go, am I the one that's being toxic? And if I am, why? Deal with all your skeletons, all your ghosts, all your incomplete conversations. So that one's a big one, and I put it 5 for last because that's the one people seem to struggle with most. We got to get rid of it.
I think that's, habits that are, bad for your health, or things that are just cluttering up your life and more to deal with, it just is like, the more you have, the more you worry about, the more, you can, you have less time to focus on the things that are important in your life. When it comes to people, I always wondered if it was better to try to address it and how much you're working on that and trying to get it to work and heal and get to a non-toxic relationship before you got to be like, you know what, sorry, you're toxic, I got to cut you out of my life. Blah.
Jen, it's so simple.
Okay.
It is actually, I broke up with 297 people in 2011. 297 people, like specifically, right? And so my moment of that is I had to look at how were they contributing to my life, what were they bringing to my life, and what was going on for me, right? And that being said, you gotta be able to have your talking points. It's almost like a meeting. Like when you are about to have a moment with somebody, you have like, for me, I have my Post-its at the bottom of my phone so I can see what I'm talking to you about, right? But for me, I go in going, all right, I love this person. I want to fix this relationship. So if I want to fix it, I got to take responsibility for what I did first. That's what you do. You disarm them by saying, hey, you know what? I know I've been shitty. I didn't show up for you in this moment, that moment. And take responsibility and be willing to change that, okay? If you want that person in your life, if there's value in the relationship, if they light your fucking heart up, if they do, keep them and fight for them and clean it up. But if they're not, and their responses to what you bring up are not gonna work out for you, you gotta be real with yourself and say, you know what? Our time is up. As I said to many of my friends back then, our season is up. And for me, because I was in nightlife for so long, I was used as the go-to nightlife guy here, Vegas, Chicago, Dallas, Miami, New York, and in Australia. Because my wife and daughter are Australian. I lived in Adelaide for a while. People would drop my name worldwide. And guess what? I did that. I conditioned my whole environment to talk to me anytime they needed anything in those cities. And I got abused. And in 2011, I woke up and looked around and I was like, who are all these energy vampires? I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
But I trained them. So I had to clean that up and go, hey, you know what? And guess what? Out of those 200, almost 300 people actually, about 150 of them are still in my life because they took responsibility. They came back and said, Shawn, you know what? You're right. I was being a bad friend. I fucked it up. And so, wow. So you give a person a chance to really shine. Like I said, you have to look at your life and take inventory and see what are you doing, especially now during COVID. Don't let the COVID excuses, as far as like, I need somebody, let me just stay in this really bad relationship and continue to suffer throughout COVID because then I'll be alone. Come on. That's retarded that people do that to themselves. Stop settling. My tattoo on my hand says, never settle.
Settle.
That's my favorite mantra. Never settle. I brush my teeth every day. I see it. It reminds me, never settle for less than extraordinary. This all day, every day shirt. This is who I am all day, every day. I honor who I am. We forget that. No more toxicity.
It's so important, and the nice thing about that is I think that it relates so much to what I, and what my philosophy and platform is that because there is so much superficiality, so many people that get used, they love things and use people. Why don't they love people and use things? And so that can't we train people to love people more, love harder, love out loud, live and live
Love out loud, yeah.
And really just get to a place where they can see beauty within and not the external, or what can that person do for me? Because you shouldn't really be looking externally for completion or for validation. You should really
agenda relationships.
Yeah.
Those are agendas. Those aren't good.
And so recognizing that, whether or not you do that or somebody else is doing that to you, it leaves you feeling empty inside, or it might leave somebody else feeling really empty, like, gosh, that person just wanted me for this or that, not really for who I am and
exactly. But to add to that, you have to actually be authentic and say, who are you, right? One of my favorite quotes I ever saw back in 2016, October, I'll never forget, it said, what you allow is what will continue.
Yeah.
Right? I chopped it up. Now I say what you allow will continue. So it's our allowance and our insecurities or lack of validation or things that we have all these fucked up relationships, and we just got to do some housekeeping. Yeah. Housekeeping is what I've been calling it lately, but that one's guys, it's so much fun to clean it up, because in all your relationships, you can be unleashed all the time. You can be your full self all the time. That's the good news about doing this work, is that you do that work and you could just be this, like, I'm this guy with everybody in my life, mom, dad, brother, sister, everybody. They expect this person. When I'm not this, they're like, hey, Shawn, are you okay? And I've been called out before. When I was in dark places in my life, when my whole accident happened and I was falsely accused, I was in a dark place. I have friends calling me up going, hey, bro, you okay? And I'm like, no, I'm not. They're like, what do you need? I'm like, can you just come over and hang out with me? And they're like, yeah. And like, I just would sit with my friends and just talk and smoke cigars, which I didn't even know I liked cigars. And, like, just being with people, like, we got to be better about all these things. We just do. So yeah, that's my rant on that.
Amazing. Well, you gave us 5 really great tips for crushing life, things that we can do right now. The first is do only things that light up your heart. The second one, speak your truth. You have permission. The third is daily meditation. The fourth is get yourself a no matter what list, those daily practices that you do no matter what the circumstances say. And the fifth one is clean out those toxic habits, things, and people. And I am going to, after this is over, I'm going to post this video so that people can look at it that haven't perhaps had a chance to join us on the live. We will have the handle so that people can get in touch with you and know where you are. I have a feeling that you were able to help a lot of people today. I really, really appreciate you being a guest on the live stream.
Yay! Thanks for having me. It's been such a pleasure.
Such a pleasure. Yeah. So everybody, thank you so much for joining on Facebook.
Thank you, Victor. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Victor. Thank you, everybody.
Yay. Thanks, Jen. You rock. Great to be with you guys. Go crush your life, guys. Build them out loud.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.